just here to have the time of my life, the time of my life, and make it last. I'm just here to laugh, leave the sadness behind, joy on my mind all the time. No, I won't waste a second, I won't waste a single minute. I'm just here to make the most of life, with happiness in me. So tell all the rain clouds to move along, the storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place, there's joy in my heart no one can take away. So tell all the rain clouds to move along, the storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place, there's joy in my heart no one can take away. Just here to have the time of my life, the time of my life, and make it last. I'm just here to laugh, leave the sadness behind, joy on my mind all the time. No, I won't waste a second, I won't waste a single minute. I'm just here to make the most of life, with happiness in me. So tell all the rain clouds to move along, the storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place, there's joy in my heart no one can take away. So tell all the rain clouds to move along, the storms of this life can't take my happy song. The hurricanes will tread on a different place, there's joy in my heart no one can take away.
Hey everyone, it's Hooflon Poo. Welcome to the inaugural stream of the Sunday Spews. Just want to go ahead and preface though that this may not be a weekly thing, and this may also not be a very long stream. Of course, knowing me, it may actually wind up being a very long stream. Who knows? So, also just kind of give any viewing audience that may be on board this evening kind of a heads up. I am still recovering from illness from last week, so still have a little bit of a cough, but we'll try to not do it in your ears. But you may also occasionally hear me unwrap a cough drop as I'm doing right now and put it in my mouth. Anyway. Also, what's going to make it really interesting is I was at a convention this weekend, and what was nice about it was I was about 10 blocks from the convention center, but the city in which I was in had these nice little scooters that you could rent, electric powered, so made the walk almost non-existent. Well, of course, last day of the event. Well, I lose control and decide to eat some sidewalk, and in the process, bruised or cracked a rib. Not really sure which it is. So, although I am taking some pain medication for that, coughing hurts really bad. Ow. Ow, it hurts really bad right now. Oh, goodness. Pain. The pain. Trust me. Hold on for a second. Oh, wow. So coughing really sucks right now. So anyway, again, welcome to the Sunday Spews, and let's just go ahead and get right into it. If I can find where my stuff is, here we go. So turns out, after making threats, Donald Trump actually declared a national emergency for the border wall, and apparently this is causing or provoking a constitutional clash, according to the New York Times anyway. Got to the New York Times. So, dated Friday, President Trump declared a national emergency on the border with Mexico on Friday in order to access billions of dollars that Congress refused to give him to build a wall there, transforming a highly charged policy dispute into a confrontation over the separation of powers outlined in the Constitution. Trying to regain momentum after losing a grinding 2-month battle with lawmakers over funding the wall, Mr. Trump asserted that the flow of drugs, criminals, and illegal immigrants from Mexico constituted a profound threat to national security that justified unilateral action. So I'm not much of a fan of seeing the unilateral action. I didn't really care much for it when President Obama decided that, well, you know what? If they're not going to give me DACA, I'll use my pen and my phone. And of course, the Democrats are losing their ever-loving shit over Donald Trump daring to use a pen and a phone. And, losing their ever-loving shit over it. When they were quite silent about Obama. As a matter of fact, some of them even cheered Obama's, not to say union address in which he spoke about that, but cheered in whatever statements they want to release to the press. They cheered him for making such a bold stand for the Dreamers. And now that we have a president that wants to make a stand for U.S. citizens, no, they. So it's just a matter of who's in charge, and who's the opposition party. Real quick though, on a technical inquiry here, guys. Right now I am not using my usual microphone. I'm using a headset microphone. So if the sound isn't so great, feel free to let me know in the chat, and I will just go ahead and get the other microphone out. Anyway. So, quote, we're going to confront the national security crisis on our southern border, and we're going to do it one way or another, he said in a televised statement in the Rose Garden, let's just say Friday, without the money he had sought. It's an invasion, he added. We have an invasion of drugs and criminals coming into our country. Okay. So I wouldn't be a damn bit surprised if in the amount of time since he said that much, we had a few Democrats come out and, piss and moan about, oh, he said criminals are coming over. And then talk about how he thinks all brown people are criminals. Don't even need to look it up. It's almost a given that kind of shit's going to be, has been said already. But the thing of it is that, they make themselves criminals once they cross our border illegally with or without drugs. So one thing I wanted to mention, I can absolutely, going back to the previous paragraph, I can absolutely see why the president believes that illegal drugs and a criminal element coming into the country is a national security issue. I don't disagree with that at all. Where his constitutional power lies in all this, not so sure about that myself. Let's see, but with illegal border crossings already down and critics accusing him of manufacturing a crisis, he may have undercut his own argument that the border situation was so urgent that it required emergency action. Yeah. So, from what I have seen, both sides of the political party are playing loose and fast with what the word crisis means. I don't think it's a crisis like what we have seen, but there certainly isn't an absence of one going on here. There definitely is something going on. He continues on. He may have undercut his own argument. Yeah. Quote, I don't need to do this, but I'd rather do it much faster, he said. I just want to get it done faster, that's all. I will say this for Trump. He's redundant. He is redundant. The president's decision incited instant condemnation from Democrats. Get out of here, really? Who called it an unconstitutional abuse of his authority and vowed to try to overrun it with the support of Republicans who also objected to the move. Now, before I even go on to the next paragraph, I'm wondering if in this anywhere in this article, if anybody that they ask for a quote, will they also ask them to cite which constitutional or any other legal statute is the president violating here? I'm not going to hold my breath. This is plainly a power grab by a disappointed president. It's almost like you could insert Obama back into this, okay? Who has gone outside the bounds of the law, Obama, to try to get what he failed to achieve in the constitutional legislative process. Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California and Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, the Democrat leader, said in a joint statement. But you were cool with it when Obama did it for illegals. You were okay. You were okay with it. It's almost like you guys are okay if there is something or some kind of executive order signed by a Democrat president or even a Republican president that supports your ideology, but as soon as there's a president in office that doesn't support your ideology, the same shit that the previous president that you supported doing this kind of shit for, you guys just go, nope, And the damn thing of it is that Obama set precedent. And there are many of us, and by us I mean including myself, who absolutely saw what was going on and absolutely took into account that, another president could come around and do this. And it's still going to be extra constitutional. But you guys don't give a shit about it. You don't. You don't really give a shit until it doesn't work in your favor. The same thing with the whole, with Harry Reid changing parliamentary procedures while he was the leader of the Senate. Now that the Republicans use those parliamentary procedures, the Democrats hate it. Try to fucking tell them, you guys. I tried to tell my Democrat friends, you guys, you're gonna hate this shit when the Republicans have it. And sure enough, they did. Anyway, Mr. Trump's announcement came during a freewheeling 50-minute appearance. Oh God. A 50-minute appearance in which he ping-ponged from topic to topic, touching on the economy, China trade talks, and his coming summit meeting. So your guys are basically complaining that he covered a multitude of topics. Who cares? president again suggested that he should win the Nobel. I don't know why he does that shit. I don't know why he does that. And he reviewed which conservative commentators have been supportive of him while dismissing Ann Coulter, who has not. Sorry, Ann. But she did call that shit when she was on Bill Maher a couple of years ago. Sounding alternately defensive and aggrieved, Mr. Trump explained his failure to secure wall funding during his first 2 years in office, when Republicans controlled both houses of Congress, by saying, I was a little new at the job. Oh, Jesus Christ. Really? Really, Mr. President? That's what you're going to go with? You're a little new at the job? Thought you were a top negotiator. Holy shit. This is the kind of thing as a president you don't fucking admit to. You just don't. He blames certain people, a particular one, for not having pushed this faster, a clear reference to former Speaker Paul Ryan of Wisconsin. He's not wrong on that either, though. He is absolutely not wrong. Mr. Trump's assertions were replete with misinformation. Of course, like what? Like what? Okay, Jesus Christ. You're just going to say they're replete, but you're not going to say what he was wrong about, although you are going to take one reporter here, so let's continue on. He refused. Let me check one thing out here. Okay, great. Let's see. When challenged by reporters, he refused to accept statistics produced by his own government that conflicted with his narrative. Yeah, and I think this is probably a reference at least to one Abilio Acosta, who was citing. I can't remember exactly whose numbers he was citing. You know, but the government statistics can give you all the news that you want to fucking hear. Absolutely can. But what they're talking, one of them that they were talking about was brought up was where illegal drugs coming through points of entry. That's where most of them are coming from. Okay, so are you So I guess they're not suggesting that none are coming up through crossings where there are not points of entry, which would not be crossings. My bad. But yeah, they're not all going through the points of entry. It's just that most of them are. But how the fuck are you even going to know that? Because Border Patrol gets lucky and catches somebody trying to bring drugs across the border that's not at a point of entry? How the fuck? I mean, you can't give stats on that shit unless Border Patrol or ICE catches these people coming up through the border. So I think the premise of the statistics really aren't that strong anyway if you take into consideration who they're not catching coming across the border. That, again, is not a point of entry. But, what the fuck do I know, right? And although I don't necessarily agree with it, I don't also necessarily find anything wrong with it. When he had the Angel Moms there, yeah, the Angel Moms don't give a shit about what the statistics are because their kids are dead by the hands of illegal aliens. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, he used it as a political ploy. And again, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't think it's wrong either. Okay? Because the fact of the matter is, sometimes you just have to get actual people and, there in the audience, in front of the cameras, to humanize the policy even more so. One point after point, the president insisted that he would be proved correct. People said, Trump is crazy, he said at one point, discussing his outreach to Mr. Kim. And you know what it ended up being? A very good relationship. Yeah, well, the jury's still out on that one. But President Trump definitely does like to, as Hard Bastard likes to say a lot, dickwag. Now, Mr. Trump acknowledged that his declaration of national emergency should be litigated in the courts and even predicted a rough road for his side. Look, I expect to be sued, he said. Well, no kidding. Launching into a mocking riff about how he anticipated lower court rulings against him and will win in the Supreme Court, he predicted. Well, we'll see. I personally am for a wall or whatever kind of barricade we can put there that will have lasting effect. But If it's found to be unconstitutional, then it is. Not to say that I would necessarily agree with the Supreme Court to that end either. It's just at this particular moment, I admittedly still do not have absolutely all the facts. There you have it. I don't know why this. Man, I tell you what, sometimes I get pretty OCD. And I'm having that moment right now. So if you're watching, watch the Poo-Tang frame. Watch the neck move a little bit. I'm just OCDing about that for some damn reason. All right, here we go. Let me check a couple of things real quick. All right, looks like we're doing good still. Okay, continuing on. Let's see. Actually, let's skim the rest of this here. Okay, 1 second. Oh man. So the emergency declaration, according to the White House, officials, enables the president to divert $3.6 billion for military construction projects to the wall. Mr. Trump will also use more traditional presidential discretion to tap 2.5 from counter narcotics programs. Oh, that's where we get to use the drug money. Let me finish this, on $600 million from Treasury Department asset forfeiture funds. So basically, last 2 points of how to finance are coming from basically drug seizures. So there's a meme being passed around about using the $14 billion that we managed to confiscate from El Chapo to fund the wall, and everybody seems to be for that. And of course, I wouldn't know why we couldn't, but I don't know how we can either. Okay, so combined with $1.375 billion authorized for fencing in the spending package passed on Thursday night, man, what a fucking crap bill. And I predict that Trump will get to walk away from that one unscathed, even though he'll have a lot of pundits and a lot of other right-wingers and conservatives bitching about it. I think if they take the time to see just exactly how shitty the Democrats are about this, yeah, he'll come out smelling like a rose. But I could be wrong. Let's see, Mr. Trump would have about $8 billion in all for barriers, significantly more than $5.7 billion he unsuccessfully demanded from Congress. Well, let's see. The president opted not to tap hurricane relief money from Texas or Puerto Rico, an idea that had generated angry complaints from Republicans. But he expressed no concern that diverting military construction money would delay projects benefiting the troops like base housing, schools, and gyms. It didn't sound too important to me, he said. Ooh, oof. I like the guy, but man, sometimes he just says some crazy shit. And this is kind of one of them, all right? I mean, these may seem mundane to somebody like Donald Trump, but this kind of shit's pretty important to the military. And it's also going to be very important to people who support the military. Holy shit. Neither the White House nor the Pentagon had yet identified which projects may be shelved as a result, but Pentagon lawyers and other officials plan to work over the weekend to identify which construction funds could be diverted. Let's see. I'm going to skip paragraph here. Most Americans oppose Mr. Trump's emergency declaration, according to polls. One release this week by Fox News found 56% against it, including 20% Republicans. Now, let's look at that real quick. I'm interested. Mostly to see who conducted the poll. Let's see. Is it going to tell us who did? Let's see. We'd have to almost go here to see it. Come on now. Man. Holy shit. Thank you. Oh, man. Okay, again, I think I need to upgrade some shit in my computer. Of course, I found out the other day I've only got 8 gigs powering a souped up graphics card. I forgot to do that. I forgot to put more memory in. Holy shit. Oh man, here we go. Interviews were conducted February 10th through 12th, 2019, among random national sample of 1,004 voters. This is why I fucking hate these, man. Fucking hate them. 1,004 is your sample size? I mean, holy shit. That is like, let me see if I can do the decimal here. 0.100000. Yeah, point. That's like 300 thousandths. No. 30 millionths, I think, of a percentage. 30 millionths. And that's just me guessing. Okay, that could be way off. I could be off by a couple of decimal points on that. But that's just to give you an idea of how small the sample size actually is, for fuck's sakes. Okay, ooh, landlines. What, you got guys on landlines? Holy shit. Let's see, random numbers were randomly selected. Sure they were. I'm sure they were. Let's see. Fox News Post conducted under the joint destruction of Beacon Research, formerly known as Anderson. Yeah, I don't know who the hell this is. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Let's see. Do you approve or disapprove of the job Donald Trump is doing as president? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so it's approval ratings, blah, blah, blah. I actually want to see the question, the actual question. So, doesn't look like it's going to be very long. Give me just a second here. That's splitting up by parties and leadership here. Ooh, they put Howard Schultz in this one. Holy crap. Would you say feel optimistic or pessimistic? Do you favor or oppose international healthcare programs? Ooh, split decision on national healthcare. Nationalized healthcare. Do you think Americans rely too much on the government, not enough themselves? Okay. Here we go. Do you favor or oppose building a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border? 46% favor. Oh, how does this shit work? Oh, that's for the week. So, if you look at this, in November of 15, before the elections even occurred, 50% said they favor it, went down, and then it's steadily come back up. So we'll see. Let's see, for reference, do you favor or oppose building a wall or security fence along the U.S. border to stop illegal immigration? Wow, this is from 2010. 53% favor. Okay. So yeah, I'd have to get a bit more into that poll to just see exactly how it was conducted. Just the sample size alone, just causing the question how it works or how it worked. Okay. Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about culture and all that stuff. So basically, then we come to the question here is, can Trump declare an emergency and start building a wall? Washington Post says, well, maybe. When President Trump said he was considering declaring a national emergency, allowing him to bypass Congress to build a wall on the southern border, the immediate reaction among many constitutional lawyers was, he can't. Of course he can't. But other legal voices weighed in quickly. Not so fast, they said. Maybe he can. And even if he can't, who's going to stop him and how? Phone and pen. Like other unsettled constitutional arguments, there will be no clear answer until the Supreme Court rules, if it ever does. And that's the damn thing of it, man. You're going to have some fucking district court judge maybe put this shit on hold and tell the president, oh, you don't have that kind of power. Don't get me wrong, guys. The president shouldn't have a lot of power. Absolutely should not. It should be all the power, most of the power should be in the legislative branch. But You know, when you have Democrats that don't give a shit if Obama uses his pen and his phone, this is what you get. Here we go. Trump has not been explicit about just what he has in mind. Among the most likely scenarios would be to declare the emergency and use it to move funds set aside for one purpose or redirect them to building the wall. Theoretically, there are ways this could be done legally. There's a little-known section of U.S. code governing the military, for instance, that gives the defense secretary the authority to undertake military construction projects, quote, not otherwise authorized by law, end quote, to support any troops deployed in a national emergency requiring the use of armed forces. Ooh, that's interesting. The administration, oh Jesus, get off my screen. Yeah, oh, where was I? Get off, man. Come on, bro. Get off. Fuck off, Mary Kay. Let's see, the administration. Oh, no. Okay. The administration would argue that the section amounts to congressional authorization, meeting one of the crucial tests of constitutionality established by the Supreme Court in 1952 when it struck down in Youngstown Sheet and Tube Company versus Sawyer, President Harry S. Truman's seizure of the country's steel mills during the Korean War. Well, that sounds kind of janky. Because the Constitution explicitly says that, quote, no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, unquote, without an appropriation by Congress, and makes no exception for national emergencies, some experts, such as Harvard Law's Noah Feldman, in a Bloomberg opinion column, argue that such a maneuver is inherently unconstitutional. But presidents have been moving money around for years to accomplish aims unauthorized by Congress, and we'll get into this here in a little bit, if not in this article, using terminology such as reprogramming or contingency funding to do as they please. And for decades, Congress has been passing laws allowing presidents to declare national emergencies in matters great and small. Elizabeth Goitein, I'm gonna say very country. Elizabeth Goitein of the Brennan Center for Justice identified 136 emergency powers authorized by Congress, 96 which can be, quote, activated by the president alone. Some powers seem almost absurdly mundane, such as the one granting Coast Guard officials the ability to serve as notaries public during a national emergency. But others allow the president to shut down or take over radio stations and suspend a law that prohibits government testing of chemical and biological weapons on unwitting human subjects, end quote. Pretty damn interesting shit right here. In 1976, Congress enacted the National Emergencies Act, which authorizes the president to declare emergencies for a variety of purposes, great and small, but offers no definition of emergency. Yeah, it sounds pretty much like how Congress does shit. It really does. Any court battle would probably be fought around the definition of its validity, according to Walter Dellinger, head of the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel during the Clinton administration. Republicans were against the border wall before they were for a border wall. Yeah. And the same could be said conversely about Democrats. So, fuck off with your video here. That office, which advises the president on constitutional issues, quote, has an obligation to determine that there is actually a basis, end quote, for a declaration of emergency, quote, and to resign if there is not. It would be, I fucked the quote thing. It would be a critical moment for the rule of law, both for them and the Attorney General, Dellinger said. Bobby Chesney, a professor at the University of Texas School of Law, agreed that much would depend on how Trump's administration defines emergency and whether the claim is convincing to the courts. I think most of us now, we already know which court this is going to go to. Okay? Or which type of court, rather. I'm thinking this is going to go to the District 9 court. Is it District 9? I'm pretty sure it's District 9. Or some other liberal court. Here we go. I think most of us fully understand there is no emergency, he said, but it doesn't follow that everyone will see it that way. Okay. Yeah, that's great that you don't think that there is an emergency there. I mean, I don't particularly think there's a national emergency along the border myself, but as he's putting it, if there is wiggle room in the law or the definition, have at it. I mean, why the fuck not? I'm going to do something here since there's not a lot of activity going on. Oh, man, come on. I just unlocked you, for shit's sakes. Come on. Work with me, bro. Work with me. All right, here we go. Okay. Anyway, that could include the Supreme Court, he said, citing its 2018 decision in Trump v. Hawaii, upholding Trump's travel ban after it had been rejected by multiple lower courts. Oh, man, I totally forgot about Trump v. Hawaii. Jesus Christ, so much has just happened. Even if Trump's actions are constitutionally suspect, Justice said, it could be difficult to stop them. While the Democrat-controlled House might have to block such a use of presidential power, it is unlikely to be joined by the Republican-controlled Senate. If Congress did act, it would need a veto-proof majority, the remotest of possibilities. No shit. Yeah, I don't think the Republicans really want to fuck with their constituents on this issue, considering most of their constituents want a border wall. Or at least more border security. Yeah, at the very least. The most plausible challenge might come from someone whose land is taken via eminent domain as a result of Trump's wall construction. Yeah, we know Trump has a history with eminent domain, but that would be far down the road in the process. Conceivably, Chesney said, a contractor who does not receive money for a defense project because it was diverted to the wall would have standing in court. But the real obstacle would be the Supreme Court's traditional deference to presidential authority, particularly when national security is invoked. There are any number of district court judges who would be happy to enjoin Trump's plans, as they have in dozens of immigration cases, Chesney said. But it would be harder to get an appeals court to do the same thing, and even more challenging at the Supreme Court. Yeah. I'm just curious about some of the comments here. No way out. Trump cannot tolerate being humiliated, and he has no qualms about taking the entire country down. Jesus Christ, dude. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Jesus Christ. What the fuck are you talking about? Democrats can't give in to Trump now. They gave in to Trump before he was ever president by saying, oh yeah, we need a border wall. Jesus. Oh, look at that. That's cute. That's really cute. National emergency, the essence of Trump's true character, that of a racist, Jesus Christ, misogynist. Yeah, just anything. Just throw out every dehumanizing adjective you can about the guy. Jesus, these people, man. Woo, man. That's pretty real, guys. That is pretty real. Now, here we go. BBC also had a viewpoint. Let's see, viewpoint why Trump may win his legal fight over the border wall. Let's see what this guy has to say. Who is this guy? Oh, we will probably catch who it is at the end. Here we go. Let's just start here. President Donald Trump's declaration of a national emergency to build his long-promised border wall was met with the torrent of condemnations, no kidding, and threats from Democrat critics. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Is this pretty much the same shit I just read here? This is what happens when you don't absolutely preview everything you're reading. It just feels like I've read all that just once already. Here we go. Okay, maybe not. Anyway. Okay, so torrent of condemnations and threats from Democrat critics, including preparation for another heated court fight. Sweet. American politics have not been so bitter and divided since Benjamin Franklin and John Adams were forced to share the same day. 1776. Oh no. I can't. I don't want to laugh at that. I can't, man. It hurts because it causes me to cough, which then causes my ribcage to hurt. Son of a bitch. But that's, man, can you imagine? There is a fundamental incompatibility, if not mutual revulsion, that divides our politics, and its focus has fittingly become a debate over a wall. There's a lot of truth going on here so far. What does the reality at the border matter? I think so. After securing only part of the funding that he sought, President Trump declared a national emergency along the southern border to allow him to start construction with over $8 billion. I guess they have to put it in pounds for the British readers because, after all, this is BBC. Anyway, with over $8 billion of shifted funds to complete his signature campaign promise, for their part, the Democrats are promising immediate court challenges. And I think anybody with a modicum of political savvy knew that shit was going to happen. There's little evidence of a true national security emergency on the U.S. border with Mexico. Man, let's work on our cadences here. Most illegal immigrants overstay their visas or pass through ports of entry. I don't know why they always feel the need to add that most illegal immigrants are people who have overstayed their visas. So what if they are? Are we not allowed to also secure the border? Jesus Christ. Ugh, I just get sick of hearing that damn statistic. Here we go. Let's see. Moreover, the number of apprehensions are down from 1.6 million in 2000 to roughly 400,000 in each year of Trump's term. So, I just don't. So what? Guess what? That is 400,000 too many, for shit's sakes. Yeah, it'd be great if we could get down to a manageable number, like, a couple hundred. But just the fact that it's dropped 1.2 million doesn't mean that there's not a problem down at the fucking border when you still have damn near 500,000 people coming in. Damn it. So, what is a national emergency? There is no real definition, which we just covered in the last article. Under the National Emergencies Act of 1976, Congress simply allowed a president to declare an emergency and to assume the extraordinary powers to combat it. Okay. Oh, and this is something we're going to get into here also a little bit. Haze of democratic hypocrisy. Yeah, this would be interesting to read, maybe. There was also a problem for the Democrats in getting a judge to listen to arguments through a thick haze of hypocrisy. President Trump's assertions of executive authority remain well short of the extremes reached by President Barack Obama. I know they didn't say president there, but for some reason my mind decided to add that in here. Who openly and repeatedly circumvented Congress. Mr. Pen and Phone. In one State of the Union address, Mr. Obama chastised both houses for refusing to give him changes in immigration laws and other changes. Ooh, did I read that right? He then declared his intention to get the same results by unilateral executive decision. After he did go on, the constitutional lawyer at one point did go on and mention about how he couldn't do that. Holy shit, Uncle Bobbity. The Ninth Circus. Oh, man. When did you type that? Man, and why is it not showing up on my fucking feed, man? Chats are not showing up on my goddamn restream. What the fuck is going on? It's not showing, actually, that chat is not showing up anywhere. Ah, there you go. I see you, sir. Don't know if you're still around. But if you are, good to see you. Let's continue. Oh, God, this will get funny. Let's see. Where'd I go? The shocking pledge was met with a roar of approval from the Democrats. Yeah, this is the shit I was just talking about. Including Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who celebrated the notion of her own institutional irrelevancy, which was dumb as fuck on her part. She had no problem abdicating her authority to the presidency, for shit's sakes. Man. In 2011, I represented Democratic and Republican members who challenged the right of President Obama and then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to launch the Libyan war without a declaration of Congress. I guess this is the guy. He's saying I I guess the guy that's writing this article. Mr. Obama then proceeded, like Mr. Trump, to use loose funds in the executive branch to fund the entire war without any appropriation. Ms. Pelosi and the Democratic leadership enthusiastically supported Obama's circumvention of Congress on both the lack of a declaration and lack of appropriation. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Will court ignore precedent? Well, before reading this, I'm going to take a guess as to no. The greatest hypocrisy is the authority that the Democrats intend to use in this challenge. A major land grab by Trump in reaction to Trump's national emergency. In 2016, I represented the House of Representatives. Okay, again, I need to know who the hell this guy is. Okay, because... Oh, I guess it was here. Should have read this after all. Jonathan Turley, professor of constitutional law at George Washington University. Yeah, okay. I'll noted. I will keep that in mind next time. Okay, so anyway, back. I'll just start over again. In 2016, I represented the House of Representatives in challenging one of Mr. Obama's unilateral actions after he demanded funds to pay insurance companies under the Affordable Care Act. Every year, presidents must ask for appropriations of money to run the government, a critical check of executive authority held by the legislative branch. Congress refused, so Mr. Obama simply ordered the Treasury would pay the companies as a permanent appropriation, even though Congress never approved an annual, let alone a permanent appropriation. It was all cool when Obama did this shit with the Democrats, wasn't it? Oh, cool. But the Republicans are supposed to agree with the Democrats again, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Hey, Uncle Bobbity, it's good to see you. I think, give me just a second here, man. Let me see if this other screen will show me chats. I guess not. We'll try this one again. Oh, I know why. Here we go. Maybe not. Okay. Whatever. Well, thank you for being my lone viewer, Bobbity. Oh, Jesus, try not to laugh. Damn. Here we go. Mr. Obama did not declare an emergency. He just took the money. He just took the damn money. He jacked it. Nevertheless, Ms. Pelosi and the Democrat leadership opposed the lawsuit and declared it a meritless attack on presidential authority. Did she now? Oh, this hurts. Oh, this hurts. Did she? No way. Did she really now? Well, I'll be fucked. In addition to ruling that Mr. Excuse me, one second. Man, I'm trying so hard not to cough because the shit hurts. Fortunately, I'm not on a very strong painkiller right now. Here, I gotta get this out of here. Let's see. Let's pop out that chat. By the way, Bobbity, if you are interested, I'm also on streaming. Don't know if that's one you do or not, but if you ever are, I'm also streaming there. Let's see. Okay, back to what I was talking about. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. In addition to ruling that Mr. Obama violated the Constitution, the federal district court in Washington, D.C. ruled that a House of Congress does have standing to bring such a lawsuit, a precedent that Congress had sought to establish. Now Democrats are going to use the precedent that they opposed under Mr. Obama. The shit, hypocrisy. However, they could end up not only losing the challenge, but frittering away the historic president. Oh, geez. All right. So, yeah, it goes into a little bit about the history of everything here. Yeah, I'm a little... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this NPR article because I want to... although I already have an idea of where NPR is going to come from on this shit, I at least want to get a better idea of what their argument is. So let's have a look-see here. So article reads, many presidents have declared emergencies, but not like Trump has. This is going to be interesting. Let me see. Who's writing this one? Scott Horsley. I'm sure. Sure he's Democrat Horsley. And declaring a national emergency Friday, President Trump tried to underscore, so he's already trying to chalk up failure here. Tried to underscore the urgency of what he calls a national security crisis along the U.S. border with Mexico, while at the same time downplaying the gravity of his response. What response? Okay. The president and his advisors couched the emergency declaration as a routine move by the executive branch to redirect money Congress has authorized, just as previous presidents have done dozens of times. Critics scoffed at that argument and accused Trump of an illegal power grab. That's great. That's great. Accuse them all you want, but you got to fucking prove it. The emergency declaration is designed to free up more than $6.6 billion for Trump's controversial border wall after lawmakers rejected the president's demand and approved only a fraction of the wall funding Trump had asked for. Yeah, do you think if the news media weren't being so negative about the wall, that it would be considered so controversial? Huh? Uncle Bobbity, reality never existed before Donald Trump became president. Yeah, and what's interesting is how the left tends to reset history, I guess you can say. Okay, another case in point, not just with the current president of the United States, would be with Bush 43. I can't remember the specifics, but they used to make a lot of arguments about what Bush 43 was doing, as if no other president had done anything exactly the same before George W. Bush. So it's almost like that history started on January 20th of 2001. Holy shit. Not bad, and I wouldn't doubt it one bit if that shit happened while Reagan was president also. Okay, Trump insists the extra money is necessary to control an influx of illicit drugs, as well as people fleeing poverty and violence in Central America. We have an invasion of drugs and criminals. Let me see. Can I do it, Trump? We have an invasion of drugs and criminals coming to our country. No, I can't do it. Ben Shapiro still has the best one. So let me read in my regular voice here. Which actually, in fact, is not my regular voice since I'm still congested. We have an invasion of drugs and criminals coming into our country, Trump said. Trump said during a Rose Garden. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm unable to read. During a Rose Garden ceremony to announce the emergency declaration, a claim NPR has previously fact-checked. But we know how these people are fact-checking lately, right? It wasn't actually 13%, it was 12%. Jesus Christ. His plan would redirect money from Defense Department. Yeah, okay, so a lot of this stuff we've already kind of covered here in two articles. The administration insists there is nothing unusual about a president moving money around like that. This is the authority given to the president in law already, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney told reporters. It's not as if he doesn't get what he wanted, so he's waving a magic wand and taking a bunch of money. Aides said it's within the president's power to shift some funds around, even without declaring an emergency. But the White House says the declaration does give the president some additional flexibility. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, I think we already covered this shit. It was in a previous article. There's rarely been a problem, Trump said. They sign it, nobody cares. I guess they weren't very exciting. I think he's got something there. Trump's declaration differs from many of those earlier emergencies. I'm gonna here in the next article we're gonna get here on some of these earlier emergencies. About three quarters of the time, presidents use their emergency power to impose economic sanctions or limit trade with foreign parties. Then President Jimmy Carter, for example, declared an emergency to limit business dealings with Iran. which also happens to be in effect, still in effect. George H.W. Bush did the same with Iraq, and Barack Obama used emergency powers to limit transactions from Libya. Which, every time I hear about Obama and Libya, I just think of the travesty that was involved with that, because they were giving up, as far as we could tell, they were giving up their WMD programs. Okay? The Bush's actions in Iraq actually fucking worked, at least with Libya. And we were actually, well, not we, but people were, I guess it was the UN maybe, was that, whoever it was actually able to go into Libya and check their weapon stockpiles. Anyway, that's a tangent. Other direct declarations have followed terrorist attacks or natural disasters. George H.W. Bush declared an emergency after September 11 attacks, and Obama used one to respond to the swine flu epidemic in 2009. Oh, I remember that. Critics say Trump's declaration is categorically different, and that the president is using his power to fund a border wall far bigger and more expensive than Congress was willing to pay for. Okay, so it's a matter of he's going past the funding that they were willing to give him. Okay. Well, when you have someone like Obama doing the things that he did with his national emergencies that happen to be on foreign soil, and not even asking for appropriation from Congress. I mean, Jesus, man, the fucking hypocrisy here is just crazy. Yeah, this is not 9/11. This is not the Iran hostage crisis of 1979. California Attorney General Javier Becerra said in a news conference on Friday after Trump's remarks. Jesus Christ. Already read the shit about it being a power grab. Let's see. Gavin Newsom accused the president of manufacturing a crisis and diverting money that law enforcement in his state might otherwise use to fight drug dealers. Well, I don't know. Maybe if we get locked down the border, might not have as many drug dealers to have to fucking deal with, Gavin. Jesus. The president grimly anticipated such legal challenges in announcing the emergency. Sadly, we'll be sued, Trump said. And sadly, we'll go through a process and happily we'll win, I think. Okay. So let's see. Declared national emergencies under the National Emergencies Act. Yeah. So this is this is nice and all, but I think it's a lot easier it's a more gratifying read when you actually have the president saying that. Yeah, they gave us the year here. This is Carter. This is Carter. Reagan. Yeah, we could do that. I could totally do that. But I got a different table that'll show something else. It'll show basically all this in a minute. And I guess that is the end of the article. The end of the article. This other article, did Obama? Yeah. So I think we've already gone through this one, and I think this article only really brings up the Libya thing. So we'll skip on that one. Here we go. List of national emergencies. Excuse me, I'm crunching the end of my cough drop. What's left of it here. Cough drops. I actually like cough drops for some reason, especially the menthol variety, because that's exactly what you wanted to know. Okay. Here we go. So yes, Wikipedia article. No, you don't use it for a research paper, but when you need something quick, this will do. Okay. So what I like about this table as opposed to the other one is that it doesn't only give you the dates. It gives you the president which declared the national emergency. And some of them include proclamations as well as maybe even executive orders. Okay. So, yeah, here we go. So because this is an issue now, I'm not going to go over all of these presidents and what's going on with their national emergency declarations. Yeah, I don't know why that other one from Carter's not in here, but whatever. So yeah, there's the sanctions against Iran. Let's see, blocking Iranian government property after the Iran hostage crisis. President Jimmy Carter issued an order freezing all Iranian assets in the U.S. Yeah. So, but look at this one. So again, this one is still active. It's current. Still going on. I'm actually kind of surprised that Obama did not end that sanction. Really surprised by that, considering what the hell he did for them anyway. You can see none of Reagan's are still active. They all ended. We have a bunch of Clinton. Look at all the Clinton ones that are still active. Holy shit. But I'm not really going to go over, make all these comparisons, or talk about the history of these national emergency declarations here. Just want to kind of keep it close to current, which means, yes, I'm going on now. My reality is going to start with Obama. Because, again, it's the shit that the left goes crazy about with President Trump, that they were silent as all get out with President Obama doing this shit. Okay? Look at this, man. Look. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I thought there were 13. Okay, but 12, whatever. It is Wikipedia again, and there might be missing just one. Let's see here. Okay. But either way. But look how many of Obama's are still active. Of the 12 listed here, 10 of them are still active. Holy shit. And all of this, and see, look at this. I don't know why you need to declare a national emergency to put sanctions on foreign entities. I just don't understand why we have to do that. And maybe someday I'll be curious enough to go find out. All right, but anyway. So there are all these declarations, and let's see. Let's actually kind of go through his a little bit more here. So this one right here. Blocking property of certain persons contributing to the conflict in Somalia. Intended to help combat Somali pirates. Okay, here we go. Blocking property, prohibiting certain transactions related to Libya. Impose sanctions on Muammar Gaddafi, his family, and Libyan officials after protesters were killed by government forces. Here's another one. Let's see. Blocking property of transnational criminal organizations. Levied sanctions against 4 criminal organizations. Okay, blocking property of persons threatening the peace, security, and stability of Yemen. Blocking property of the government of the Russian Federation relating to the disposition of highly enriched uranium extracted nuclear weapons. Here we go. Blocking of certain persons contributing to the situation in the Ukraine. Blocking property of certain persons with respect to South Sudan. Blocking property of certain persons contributing to the conflict of Central African Republic. Blocking property and suspending entry of certain persons contributing to the situation in Venezuela. Blocking property of certain persons engaging in significant malicious cyber-enabled activities. Okay, that one seems to be a more legit one. Okay, intended to allow sanctions to be levied on foreign individuals determined by the Department of the Treasury to have engaged in cybercrime or cyber terrorism. That one I get a little bit more than the others so far. Here we go. Blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuses or corruption. Impose sanctions due to the Rohingya conflict in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. Works in tandem with the global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability. Okay. All right. So that's what we have. Most everything that Obama did had to do with foreign entities. Only one of them, so far as I could tell, had much to do with anything of cyber crimes or cyber terrorism, of transactions coming into the United States. Okay? Now, I get the thing about blocking property. Now, we're talking about blocking properties that they have in the United States. Okay. But do you have to declare a national emergency for this shit? That's the part I don't get. Okay? Now, here we go. what has Trump done since taking office? And let's see, when did Obama first start his? Man, in his very first year as president. Holy shit. Trump declared his first one. It took Trump over a year and a half to declare a national emergency. Let's see, imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. Oh yeah, that's the whole Russian hacking shit. And again, that still protects the interior of the United States. Here we go. Blocking property of certain persons contributing in the situation in Nicaragua. Announces certain sanctions against current informer Daniel Ortega government officials engaging in human rights abuses or corruption. Okay. That's taking place in a foreign country. Don't know that I agree with it. Now here, I guess, I don't know, I guess you just the whole thing about using national emergency declarations for sanctions just seems a little weird. Let's see, who else is using it for sanctions? Oh, just about everybody. Holy shit, I guess that might just be the only way you can do it. Declaring a national emergency. Here we go. Latest of Trump on February 15th. Declaring a national emergency concerning the southern border of the United States. Presidential proclamation. Okay, we already know what the hell's going on there. Okay. So basically what it just really comes down to is that the Democrats, just because Donald Trump is the president of the United States, all of a sudden do not want a fucking border wall. That's what it comes down to, is what it does. Okay, so that's going to do it for the conversation of President Trump and the border wall, including all the reactions to it. Going to briefly touch on a couple of other news stories. And yes, I am going to do a little bit of the Jussie Smollett. Hold on. Yeah, not now. I don't want to do that right now. So, apparently, Brian Stelter had a panel at Reliable Sources doing a discussion on whether or not Good Morning America was too soft on Smollett. Of course they fucking were. Of course they were. You know, these people are so PC driven. I mean, Jesus Christ, they even had to get the female reporter on or anchor on GMA who happens to be black to interview the black guy, because we want to be racially sensitive. So let's hear what this panel has to say about this shit.
It's the Silverado Sell Down. Get 0.
After our word from our sponsors. Jesus. If it wasn't for all my bookmarks showing up, I'd do it in my regular Chrome browser.
I wonder, Bill, if you think the Good Morning America interview, for example, was too soft on him. I mean,
clearly,
even by the time he sat down with Robin Roberts, there were a lot of doubts about his story.
Absolutely, and she had to press that, and she didn't really do it. Interestingly, he's a celebrity besides being a victim. He's an actor, and that was a celebrity interview more than a news person interview. And that's the way it felt like to me. Instead of getting to the facts, it was much more about him and his, the effects on him and things like that. Instead of saying.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with this guy at all. As a matter of fact, I've seen about a minute of this, so I can get through about a minute, through a third of this to see and actually agree with what's being said here.
What is this? What really happened? It was not actually a news interview. So he didn't do a news interview. Mm-hmm. The media was not able to really question him closely about this. And when they did it, his story started to fall apart because it was full of red flags.
It also contributed to this sense among Trump supporters.
Now, Stelter's actually going to say something kind of poignant here. So let me back it up a couple seconds.
Apart because it was full of red flags.
It also contributed to this sense among Trump supporters that there is this campaign against them, and that there is this, we can see it in Donald Trump Jr.'s tweets. I think we can put up some of his tweets from the past 12 hours. Look, Donald Trump Jr. is a hammer, so everything he sees is a nail, and everything he sees is about attacking the media. So he'll attack the media no matter what. But
settle down, Liz. You'll get your turn. Oh, I've had prior experience with Liz Plank.
But he's attacking the media today because he says that the press fell for this, and I just wonder how much of that we should acknowledge.
Well, at a minimum.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I lost track of what Stelter was staying there. So let me
because he says that the press fell for this, and I just wonder how much of that we should acknowledge. Well,
all of it. Just acknowledge the whole goddamn thing, because that's exactly what y'all did. Absolutely bought it. It was hook, line, and sinker for you dumb shits.
At a minimum, there were people who, I've talked to people off camera, I've talked to people sort of in green rooms who were skeptical, who had questions about this story, were afraid to raise those concerns because of the intersectional nature of this particular accusation.
Yeah, he's absolutely right on this. I don't know who this guy is. I had their names earlier. I guess this is Kamel Foster. Kamel Foster, yeah. And Bill Carter was the other gentleman. But yeah, the whole thing, the intersectionality agenda that's going on is just putting a lot of probably good news people in a position to not be good news people. And it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that, they're in that position. But they allowed themselves to become that way. Being more concerned with being politically correct instead of trying to find the truth.
And there are plenty of circumstances like that. And that is something that we have to be aware of. When there are stories that involve very sensitive issues of race and sexuality, and there are accusations and allegations that are being made, when you raise questions about those allegations, it is often the case that people will raise questions about your motivations. Look, I am talking about these stories.
Liz is trying so hard to get a word in edgewise.
I'm talking about the merit of a particular charge, and at the end of the day, it's whether or not that charge has merit that matters. And Robin Robbins, in that conversation, in that interview, had an opportunity to say, there are practical reasons for someone to ask questions about something like this that have nothing to do with your race or your sexuality. She didn't do that, and there are far too many instances where serious journalists aren't doing that.
True.
Yeah, absolutely true. And the fact that nobody wants to... Now, see, that's the thing, though. If you want to send in the black reporter to interview this person, at least have them try to be interested in finding out what the fuck is going on. Because if anybody was going to be able to ask those kind of questions, without there being any accusations of racism, or misogyny, that was going to be the person to do it. A black female. All right, but then if she's straight, they probably would have called her out for being a homophobe. Let's see. There's something I want to do here. Let's see here. Where is her actual... Oh, here it is. Is this it? Crap, come on. Well, how many of these things did she do, for fuck's sakes? So I'm trying to quickly find this video of Liz Plank, who we're going to hear from here, talking about the pink tax. So she is a feminist, is agendaed, and we're going to go back a few seconds and see how she started here, or how she starts here. Okay. She was really trying to interrupt these guys here. It's like, oh, when's it my turn to speak? Settle down, lady. You'll get your chance. So I am trying real hard here to find even my video on it. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Now, granted, this was a couple
throughout this entire election,
but yeah, you'll see what's going on here. So this is a video I did. Oh no, this is not the one on the pink tax. This is her being an armchair psychologist. Holy shit. The pink tax one is fucking hilarious.
the media's been calling Donald Trump a bully. But what if we've been wrong all along?
Oh goodness, finally. We're going to have somebody talk to us about how Trump is a sane person, not so crazy as we thought he was. Jesus Christ. So when was this? damn near 2.5 years ago. Bad graphic, bad mic.
That him talking about, going up to women and kissing them and, without permission and grabbing their hoo-ha is not actually sexual assault because he never admitted to doing that. Even if it is surprisingly coming from Liz Plank, the pink text lady.
Listen up, ladies. What would you say if I said that you were being screwed out of $100,000? That's real money. Cold, hard cash. And no, I'm not talking about the pay gap. I'm talking about the money that...
Okay, yeah, I totally forgot I did preface this video.
that you lose by shopping in the women's aisle.
Yep.
Anyway, so the armchair psychologist thing she does on here too is pretty funny as well. But again, the whole reason of showing you this is just kind of prepare you for what you're getting, because although I absolutely believe people can change in the span of 2 years, or even a day, they can change their mind. I don't think that this is one of those people that do that. So here we go.
Too many instances where serious journalists aren't doing that.
True.
And now Democratic politicians who came out and said this was a modern-day lynching are going to have to be held to account.
They jumped way too early on this, and there's where the real fault lies.
Wait, maybe she's not going to get a word in.
I think you can't use your ideology and impose it on a story like this. You're going to get burned. Maybe you won't always get burned, but it's a tremendous risk.
As of a couple days ago, Fox, the studio that makes Empire and the network that broadcasts Empire, was standing by Smollett, saying that he has the network support. As of this morning, no new comment from Fox. They've gone silent on this. Liz, last word to you on what is, at its heart, it's just a very sad case.
Yeah,
no matter what. If he lied, it's sad. If it happened, it's sad.
Absolutely. I think it's important to cover this story. I also think it's important to cover the other several stories of hate crimes. Not to say that this was a story of a hate crime, but that there are real hate crimes that happen in this country, and there's an increase in them against black people, against LGBTQ people, against Muslims, and the fact that one...
We've been hearing this shit for years. For a couple of years now. And there just isn't enough evidence to show that, first of all, that there's a rise of hate crimes, and secondly, who they're against, and thirdly, who's instigating them. So this is the typical leftist response here.
Robbery was fake does not mean that robbery is not a problem. The fact that there is one false rape accusation does not mean that there's no rape. We have to cover the...
No one is saying this. She's trying to make it about every other case that could possibly be true. Can we not just talk about this one, you idiot?
These issues as trends and as patterns, and not fall into the trap that because one story is not real, that the problem is not real.
Or maybe not give the celebrities all the attention.
Yeah.
Jesus, what a sophist response.
Guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
Okay, it's hump day. All right. So that's going to do it for that one. Last one we're going to touch on here is, here we go. Former Congressman Anthony Weiner released from federal prison. Oh, great. That's awesome. Did he go back to Huma? Oh, here we go. Disgraced former Congressman Anthony Weiner has been released from federal prison in Massachusetts. The New York Democrat, a once rising star who also ran for mayor, was convicted of having illicit online contact with a 15-year-old North Carolina girl in 2017. See, if you had just waited a few more years, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, you just don't fuck around with kids under 18 for shit's sakes. He began serving a 21-month prison sentence that November at the Federal Medical Center, Devens. What? At a federal medical center? Why? Jesus. Here we go. The Federal Bureau of Prisons website now shows Anthony Weiner is in the custody of its residential reentry management office in Brooklyn. What the fuck is that? What? Well, funny I should ask. Here we go. So the Federal Bureau of Prisons Residential re-entry centers, also known as halfway houses. Basically, the BOP contracts with them to provide assistance to inmates who are nearing release. RRCs provide a safe, structured, supervised environment, as well as employment, counseling, job placement, financial management assistance, and other programs and services. Okay, so a guy who had inappropriate contact with a teenager is released from prison and is basically, I mean, if it looks anything like this, you know, it looks like a nice facility. And knowing it's Anthony Weiner, he's definitely going to be in a nice facility. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Man, you know, okay. Hard time? No, not necessarily. You need a hard time. But fuck. Just, whatever, man. I mean, it's just crazy. It's not immediately clear when he was transferred and where he's currently staying. Emails were sent to the Bureau of Federal Court in New York and Weiner's lawyer requesting comment. The Bureau website shows Weiner is slated to complete his sentence May 14th. Okay. So, this jerk's not in prison anymore. And that is what, you know, that's the justice system for political elites. God damn it, dude. Give me a fucking break with that shit. Well, anyway, guys, let's see here. We are ranting. How long has this shit been going on for? Huh? How long have I been on this? Let me see. I know where I can see. I know where I can look. Hour and a half. Man, this is probably one of the shortest streams I have done. Wow. Good for me. If I could, I'd pat my own back right now. I did really good. Before we get out of here, I'd like to thank what? Nah. Don't want to do that. I'd like to go ahead and thank Uncle Bobbity for coming into the chat and saying hello, and anyone else who may have stopped by to at least watch a few minutes. Do appreciate you coming by. And again, don't know if I'll be doing this again next week. We shall see how the wind blows. But wouldn't mind doing something similar to this for every Sunday. You know, just kind of filling the void while some of our favorite content creators are taking a day off. So we'll just see how that works out. But anyway, thanks again so much for joining the stream. If you're watching this on replay, do thank you for taking the time to watch even 2 minutes of it. Really do appreciate it. And with that, shout out. I ain't ready for that. And with that, I bid you all a fond farewell and deuce.